We never want to censor our guests, but in the following interview, certain celebrity names were mentioned as being on Diddy tapes, some of which may have been victims. Our lawyers advised us to remove all names for various legal, moral, and ethical reasons. A lot has been said since Kim Porter's Lost Words has been pulled from Amazon. We have the author here, Chris Todd, to break some revelations down. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and so happy to have a special guest here, Chris Todd. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, sir?
How are you, Andy? How's it going?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you coming in here, and I appreciate you taking the time. I want to get right into it because it seems a lot of people online love you or hate you, depending on their belief on this book. We're going to get into it. We have a lot to unpack. For those of you unaware, Chris was behind this book, Kim's Lost Words, which I guess I want to let you set it up. This came from a hard drive of hers?
Yeah, the book came from flash drives. We call them thumb drives.
And for those unaware who haven't been following, most of you have been watching or following, but just in case those haven't, yes, this thumb drive contained this manuscript as well as videos, etc.
Yeah, diary excerpts, pictures, and there supposedly are S tapes on there with celebrities, yes. I have not seen them. I was not shown them. I wanted to see them, but we'll talk about Courtney Burgess today. And I don't blame Courtney, and in a way, maybe I'm glad I didn't see him, but I do not have the tapes, and I did not ever see the tapes.
All right, well, that's perfect. You just set it up because for those of you sort of now, that's where he's coming from. He wrote this book. It got pulled from Amazon. We got a lot to break down, but the latest information, which I want to go into now with you, Chris, and I appreciate you being here, is now, yes, you just said the names, Courtney Burgess and his lawyer, Ariel Mitchell Kidd. Here they were outside the grand jury after they gave testimony. I did have Christopher Meltron. We were a little criticizing of these two because it felt like they were just calling TMZ to grift off of this grand jury summons, and it bothered us. But now I'm learning, and you did some other previous interviews, and I'm glad you're here to share the Sarah story as well. I guess Courtney was the man who gave you the manuscript. Can you correct and sort of elaborate on who Courtney was to you?
Yes, there were two sources. There was a celebrity source that I will not name. And then there was Courtney Burgess. Courtney received, we'll call it the gold, from the celebrity source.
The gold meaning the thumb drive?
All of it. The videos, the tapes, the books, the pictures. There's a lot of other stuff in there.
So Courtney had the stash. I don't want to call it gold because it seems a little,
yeah,
but sure, the gold, the stash, depending how you look at it.
Yeah.
But the stash, the stuff,
the
info, Courtney had it. Now, you didn't see any of this, just so I'm clear.
I can't fully comment on everything, but I did not see the tapes. I do not have the tapes. I'm not in possession of the tapes. I was never given the tapes.
Now it's interesting, and I get it. I believe you. I trust you. It's also complicated now, I imagine, because now these two got summoned. It sounds like he got raided. They went and looked for his stash, took his drives. Does that worry you? Is that part of maybe your hesitancy? How do you now? I'm worried too. I have you on. Am I going to get raided? Does that now start getting in your head? And do you think others as well? What is your reaction to that?
No. Obviously, any authorities could call me on the phone and talk to me. Like, there's not, with Courtney is a different animal, and his situation is a lot different than my situation. Okay. I do this every day. I've put people in jail. I've informed on people. I solve murder cases. Okay. You read my books. I kill killers. That's what I do. So I've worked with the FBI. I've worked with DEA, LAPD, robbery, homicide. They all know who I am. If they want to talk to me, they'll talk to me. They don't need to kick in my door. I have nothing on my phone or in my computer that is anything illegal. It doesn't matter. I'm an investigator. I'm a journalist. I'm an author. Right. I have the right to do any stories, just like the media does too. The same rights as them. So
you've always said there were two sources. One, the celebrity you're not going to mention, and I guess now we're revealing this other source was Courtney. Yes,
he revealed himself.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Why now is Courtney being revealed as this source?
There's a couple of things that happened. There was a raid, and he was nervous. and I don't blame him. And it was scary, and they confiscated his music equipment. And
Because Ariel tried to downplay that. Sorry to interrupt, but Ariel tried to downplay that on News Nation. Oh no, there wasn't a raid. We knew. Are you saying otherwise?
there was a raid.
That can scare a guy. They show
Yeah,
up trying
and he was cuffed. He was handcuffed.
So now, here's my problem with these two, and I don't know them. I'd happily talk to them anytime. Maybe there's more I don't know. Maybe you can elaborate. I've been critical of this because it felt like Ariel was out there attempting to sell these tapes. Like, hey, celebrity person who's out there, like, you better buy it because, you know, God's willing, because there's major networks trying to buy it. I get a little bit of I don't know, it just feels creepy, Chris. I got to be honest. What did you think of it all?
Okay, let me say this. First of all, I know Ariel and I know Courtney, both of them personally, and I have very deep connections to both of them. Okay? Ariel Mitchell and Courtney Burgess have the right, like everybody else, to sell a movie, a book, do a story. They're no different than Steven Spielberg, Michael Mann. They can do whatever they want. Okay? Dylan Howard, Radar Online. What about them when they did Trump stuff and Stormy Daniels and Michael Sanchez and Jeff Bezos? What are we talking about? They can do whatever they want. Okay. And if they're whistleblowing on something, they have the right, and there's protections for whistleblowers. There's shield laws. So they're not doing anything Hollywood doesn't do every minute. And they make millions of dollars. They've made zero.
And to be clear, I'm with you 100%. If they're whistleblowing and exposing these monsters, I'm with you 100%. But I guess, can you elaborate? Because he's out there saying, oh, there's minors on these tapes. They're victims. They didn't know the cameras were on them. And when I hear that kind of stuff, the tapes in question that they're trying to sell to me are of victims. And that's where I don't agree there. We shouldn't be selling those tapes if they're victims. No. Do you know, are they victims? Do you know more?
Yeah, let me just put it this way, because obviously I've been dealing with Courtney for almost a year. It's probably 8 to 9 months, and there's other people involved. It's not just him. There's other hip hop artists. There's other sources. Let me just say it this way: the whole idea was to be in possession of a story, to do a book and a movie. If the tapes with celebrities or whistleblown or Kim Porter took the drives from Sean's safe and gave them to a celebrity source, and those came to the investigators and journalists, that's how it goes. That happens every day. Okay? So to monetize that in a book or a story, Hollywood does it every day. It doesn't matter. There's mob movies about guys who killed people that made millions of dollars, and you rank them as the top 5 movies of all time. So it's just part of life. So I'm going to say this. And Ariel and Courtney can say whatever they want. And if they're trying to be softly deceptive here and there, that might be for their protection. Okay? I talk about my reality, what I know. Not a minor in 2016 at the Atlanta house where this tape is supposedly made with Diddy and he's 20 years old. He's not a minor. So I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. In Kim Porter's book, she talks about, I've never seen anything of them. When she calls them young boys, how do you know she's not talking about 18, 19-year-olds? So people have kind of run with this like, oh, there's minors. And to me, I don't think Sean Combs is that stupid to film himself with minors. I'm sorry. I don't.
Right, and let's be clear, you haven't seen these tapes. You just dropped some names. You can't. We don't know for sure if those people are on those tapes, but those have been theorized, just to be clear. Sure. But here's my problem: even if those names were on, if they were drugged, you mentioned that night, that dude was on some stuff. There's no way he could consent to what's going on. So if that was the case, which I'm not saying it is, because he has a right to protect himself and so on. Don't you have a problem with that kind of stuff being sold to the highest bidder or back to that person as almost blackmail?
Well, it's not blackmail and it's not extortion, because I could argue that any civil lawsuit is a form of extortion. What did Cassie do when Cassie asked for millions of dollars or she's going to talk? Is that extortion? See, lawyers, they try to tell me this. I know a lot of attorneys. It's not extortion. I could say Tony Busby is extorting witnesses and celebrities right now. Okay? Putting up a hotline, asking for people to come forward, and then going to the celebrities and saying, if you don't talk, we're gonna out you, or if you don't pay. What is that? So it's all blurred. It's like everyone just needs to kind of relax. If they want to do a catch and kill, that happens all the time too. If wants to catch and kill it, let him. It's his right. If Courtney wants to help him, because look, I'm telling you right now, Courtney Burgess is not the only person that has that tape. I already know he's not, because I know somebody else at a major Hollywood studio that I could out if I want to, who has watched parts of it, and they told me they did. So he's not the only one. You think over 30 years, he's the only one who there's other people there. There's hundreds of people at these parties. And Diddy could have had stuff taken from him. You know,
well, I guess here's because you're dropping names, and which I don't want to put names on this video, and so I'm even debating whether I've blurred or bleeped those names just for my own sake. And I'll decide after we've taped this. But like, you haven't seen the videos. Let's keep it a buck, correct? You have not seen these videos, so how can you say with your chest so confidently who's in these videos?
Well, because I'm also an investigator. So if I know that other people are talking about it, corroborating and saying the same thing is happening in the video, talking about a bedroom and a jacuzzi, and they're saying they're in Atlanta and they're at this house, and then they show me screenshots of the party, I'm going to believe you until you show me something that makes it go away or proves the smoking gun it's false. We know was there. It's on tape. It's on tape. There's nothing made up. So if they go, well, after that, wait till you see that. Okay, I believe them. I can't tell you I saw it. I didn't. But I know it exists.
But let's say that person that you keep saying is on that tape. Does that person not have a right as a victim to not be thrusted in this story if they choose not to be? Honestly, I ask that because I hear you, and I understand the fervent thirst of the community who wants names at all costs. But aren't there some people that maybe didn't do a wrong that don't need to be outed like this?
What I suggested, and I actually tried to reach out to these celebrities and said, I'll help you. I'm the best investigator in the world, and I don't care what anybody says. And anybody wants to talk crap about me, come say it to my face. And I can help them. I can help. I won't say their names. If you want me to say them, there's 5 celebrities in the book that I can help. And so remember also, you have a news story. You're a journalist. The public has a right to know, a need to know, and there's a public safety issue. So if Courtney or Ariel or the studio exec has it and they want to give it to the public has a right to know, to see it. You could blur out the nudity. You could trim it. You can censor it. You don't release them nude because there's pornography laws. There's privacy issues, especially in California. We created that here with the sex tapes. You know who I'm talking about, the 2 famous female celebrities. That was created here. I actually worked with one of the companies who did those years ago in Hollywood. Okay. So there are ways around it. You be careful. But what I would do, to be honest, if I was to talk to these celebrities, if they were on a tape, somebody like I would come forward with it, blur it out, get in front of it, do a press conference, say you were a victim, let Sean take the fall. Because if somebody leaks that stuff behind your back, that's going to be bad. So if I were a celebrity, and I've been in positions where people have offered me things too before, I would gobble it up. Yeah, I'm not saying I'd pay $1 million for it, but I would sit down with the person and be like, can you help me? Will you help me? And I would say, yeah, I'll help you.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's tough for me because I want all the bad to be exposed, right? There's a lot of bad in Hollywood. You know this, I know this,
Yeah.
and Diddy was instrumental in it,
Yeah.
But I do feel like there was a lot of damage done by Diddy to others that I don't know if they deserve the wrath. And people can turn it certain ways, and that's. Whether these names stay in this video or not are basically what my lawyer advised me, because previously they've told me not to say these names because these people have not asked to be it. They are potential victims. And Ariel and Courtney, for the record, are out there in the news sort of saying as much, saying that they're of a certain age, etc.
Courtney said a lot. He's been very courageous. He mentioned another son of a famous person. I won't say the name, but he said it. And he said a lot of stuff about and there's something goes back, a long history with him, with these people in the hip hop and entertainment industry. That's his right. The guy got shot. He was almost killed. He was set up. They had the federal authorities had to protect him once a few years ago. They tried to set him up to have him unalived. Some of the best stories are dark and they're twisted, and our public wants them. So you can't start being, not you, but you can't start being hypocritical about like, well, these people don't have any right to do anything, but News Nation can. Like, you can't do that.
Well,
Just
News
let 'em
Nation
cook.
isn't saying the names either, for the record.
News Nation, New York Post, they've all hinted
None
at
of them
who
are
it
saying the
is.
names, yet you want to put the
They're
names
pretty
out.
much- They're pretty much
And I would
saying
just
it.
push back a little bit. I'm going to let you have the final thought, and I want to continue this because you said it in your own interview, Chris. Is the book real? I have to say I don't know, but it's real enough for me. I mean, I guess that's where I'm sort of hung up on, and I guess others are. Now, you brought some damning evidence that we're going to talk about in part 2, which is the cease and desist that Diddy sent you, which is kind of odd. Why is he asking you for a hard drive if you don't have said hard drive? Go ahead. We're going to get into that, but before we do, any final thoughts before we get into that? That's going to be part 2 of our interview with Chris Todd. You were lifting up those books. Go ahead.
This book became this book. This book is highly explosive. I don't want it out. It's not going to come out. I've already talked to Courtney. It's coming down. I think they put it up on a website somewhere. I know someone has a copy of it and they read it online. I may stop them. I may have to stop their channel. Okay. This thing burns down the forest. I did this to protect people. I edited things out of it. I pulled out the prologue and the epilogue, which you can put up in the next video if we do one. So, and also what you're showing me with Rolling Stone saying, well, if you put a gun to my head, do I know if it's real or not? That was very early on. Very early on.
So you feel differently now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, again, I got to put all this out for my own legal sake. This is Chris talking and also what he heard Courtney talking. This is not my opinion. I am not out here. I don't know legally whether I'm allowed to. Again, none of us have seen these tapes, we can say. So this is all speculation. I'm putting the warning up.
None of us, but yeah.
Well, have you?
No, I'm saying, well, you're saying like none of us.
No, sorry, you and me. You're the only two. We're the only two people
me
here.
And you haven't seen them, but there's many
Courtney
people.
allegedly has seen all these tapes because he allegedly has this drive that the grand jury has seen. But you and I have not. But
Correct.
is this the names and things you're saying are what's coming from Courtney is what you're saying?
And other people. I don't just use one source. I have other sources in Hollywood that are saying they saw the tapes.
Well, there you go, chat. We have a lot more to talk about with Chris. I want to break down this cease and desist as well as this book as well. So make sure you stay tuned for part 2. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for all alerts, and smash that like button. And no, I'm not just stretching this out for clicks. I want a shorter video. So more people click on shorter videos. That's really why we cut these up. So stay tuned. Part 2 of this is going to be important as well. Check out both videos. Thank you guys so much for watching.